So first is Mr. Butchers, just on my left. Would you spend 2 minutes, just 2 minutes, about yourself and your organization?
Certainly. Mic on? Can you?
Right.
Good afternoon. Look, it's my pleasure to be here and be part of this panel. My name is Dean Butchers. I'm the General Manager for the Business Attraction and Investments Group within ATEED. ATEED, for the people who are visiting Auckland, is the Auckland Tourism Events and Economic Development Agency. It's a council-controlled organisation, one of about 6 that are part of the Auckland Council family. And my specific focus is really on working with businesses around foreign direct investment, about attracting new businesses, new organisations and investment from overseas to consider and look at establishing in Auckland and operating from Auckland as part of this very exciting city. I will correct you on one comment you made about the ranking. You said that Auckland was second in the world for ease of doing business. I think our records suggest that it was first, and it was first in 2016 according to World Bank, and actually was also reaffirmed about 3 weeks ago as being first again. So.
So, Mr. Butchers, you are a leading figure of the business community here. So my first question to you is that, New Zealand and China are very different countries, and we are very far away from each other. New Zealand is such a small country, but it's very developed. China is a huge country, but it's still a developing country. So could you explain to me why our two countries can get along with each other very well, and we are so close today?
Yes, certainly. Look, a couple of points I'd make. Auckland has got great diversity. So there's 180 different ethnicities within Auckland. And so it's a very multicultural city to live in. And there's 40% of people who call Auckland home who were born overseas. And what that means is that there's a great empathy with different countries, different ethnicities, and it gives us the ability to have that rapport and that dialogue and to be able to relate to other countries. If I look at specifically the relationship between China and New Zealand, I think, we just need to look back a couple of weeks and the tripartite event that we had held up in Guangzhou. It was the 3rd year that we've had tripartite. It originally started in LA, and it's a 3-city relationship or agreement between LA, Auckland, and Guangzhou. Last year it was in Auckland. This year it was in Guangzhou, and I guess the link between the two cities was probably best reflected by the fact that there was 100 New Zealand businesses that sought and went up and represented themselves as part of that trade relationship between China and New Zealand. So as much as the governments obviously work on free trade agreements and other such, protocols, it's the business-to-business relationships, and I think what today represents is an opportunity for those organisations, different businesses to match, to connect, and to do business, because it's that trade between businesses that actually provides the foundation for an ongoing business relationship.
So thank you, Mr. Butchers. So you are focusing on, I know you have been focusing on the innovation economy in Auckland and New Zealand. Could you share some of your ideas about this?
Sure. So at ATEED, we've undertaken a number of innovation interventions. I guess probably if I can share a couple of those, one would be Grid AKL, which is an area that we have defined down in the Wynyard Quarter, so down near the waterfront. It was a piece of land that 5 or 6 years ago doesn't look anything like what it does today. Through a number of partnerships and the role we've played, there exists down there now a number of buildings which have been activated to create an incubator, to create accelerators in the innovation and technology sector. And there's now a real strong and growing concentration of tech companies that are based down there. It's also generated a lot of interest from venture capitalists, a lot of interest from investors who are looking to associate and to assist those companies in growing. And it's really exciting to see that a number of those companies now are actually winning and succeeding globally. They're not large companies yet, but they are large in terms of the niche or the specific area of focus, and it comes back to I think the DNA of New Zealanders, you know, that lateral thinking that takes place in New Zealand, in thinking outside the box, also best amplified by, you know, the success that Emirates Team New Zealand had. You know, it wasn't an abundance of money that won that, but it was actually challenging the technology and throwing the ball down the road as far as you could. A couple of other examples, the augmented reality, virtual reality garage. So for those visitors here from overseas, we've got a facility that AET set up about 15 months ago. It's in the northern part of the CBD called the AR VR Garage. It's got all of the universities in Auckland participating, as well as a number of industry organisations and technology companies like Microsoft and Hewlett-Packard. And through that AR VR Garage, there have been a number of companies now that have been established who are winning successfully on the global stage, including one company, a young woman who was recognised this year as the New Zealand High-Tech Entrepreneur of the Year. So there are a number of these initiatives that we've done at AET really to help generate and provide a catalyst for innovation. And in fact, if I can use one more example, out in Kumeu is a film precinct. A lot of people in Auckland don't know that we have a film precinct here in Auckland, but it's a large facility. Warner Brothers were out there last year shooting an international feature film, and they were doing it in conjunction with China Media Capital and Gravity Pictures. So there was a real strong link between you know, Warner Brothers and China and New Zealand, and I guess that's probably a good example to finish off on in terms of how these partnerships, these trade relationships between China and New Zealand can succeed. We all bring the best of what we bring and can offer together.